Hello, and welcome to today's training on CINC Cash Offer, which is CINC's newest lead generation effort. I have with me two amazing co-hosts, Mike Davis, who is on the CINC Live Events team with me, Kayla Priest, and I also have Harry here with us from the CINC client marketing team. They are the ones that generate all of these amazing leads. Harry specializes in Facebook and ListCast, and now CINC Cash Offer. So thank you both for being here with me today to fill in some great information while we cover CINC Cash Offer.
Sure thing.
So we're going to start super briefly. I mean, not even briefly, we're going to start simply. And so let's talk, what is Cash Offer? And I'm curious if you could put in the chat for me, are you currently part of the CINC Cash Offer program? Just send me a quick yes in the chat if you are. And then if you're not, but you're here to find out more, send me a no. So that way we see what the makeup here of what we have. Perfect. So I'm seeing a good mix of yes and no. So for my yeses, I might be coming to you a little later and ask you for your experiences as well. So for those of you who are not currently in the program and you want to know what even is Cash Offer, I'm hearing about it, but I don't know what it is. Let's go ahead and talk about what it is and what it's not. So at its core, it is just a new lead generation or lead type that CINC is helping to generate for you. This one is going to be seller leads, but they are one step further than your typical seller lead. They are a seller in your area who raised their hand and said, yes, I'm interested in getting a cash offer for my home. Now, you may have leads that say, I need to sell really quickly, or I need to sell for the most money possible, but maybe there are people who you're currently working with that say, I'm going to wait for the best offer. So we've got different leads of, or levels, I should say, of interest when it comes to sellers. But what is their goal? Is it to sell quickly? Is it to get the most money? These leads are saying, my intent is to sell to a cash offer and not necessarily be listed on the MLS and like that typical process. So essentially this lead generation type is targeting sellers in your area that raise their hand saying, I'm interested in receiving a cash offer. Now, as we go through this training, you'll find they don't always end up going with a cash offer. A lot of times they do choose to list with you as the listing agent. We'll be talking about how you can still make a commission off of that cash offer as well. Now, I'm going to throw to Harry in just a moment, but I want to talk about another big difference between a typical seller lead and the CINC Cash Offer seller lead. And that's going to be that when they click on an ad from social media saying, are you interested in a cash offer? They are driven to a specific landing page on your CINC site for cash offer leads. And we take them through a 16-question form asking them all about the home that they are interested in getting this cash offer on. So these are leads that are really motivated because they're taking the steps to put in, or I should say, to answer these 16 questions, giving us a little bit more information. So Harry, tell me, is there anything else that we should point out as a difference between a typical seller lead we might generate versus the cash offer seller lead?
Well, I think you mentioned a lot of good points with it. We do tend to see that these are more motivated seller leads, are going through a lot more steps to sign up on the site. One big difference that we see is the cost. These are much more expensive than traditional seller leads. Part of that is because, of all the barriers they have to sign up. So that's something to mention. Usually on the seller side, we're seeing a lead cost of somewhere between maybe $15 and $20 at this point in the year. These are generally coming in at $125 to $250 across the board. So we do have some areas that are lower than that. I believe the lowest cost that we've got so far this month is around $60 a lead. And the highest is right at that $225 mark. But there is they are a good deal more expensive when you're looking at traditional seller leads. But the success that we've seen in follow-up has been a lot higher as well. And a lot of times, one of the things that we always see, a lot of times lower cost leads, that they may come in at a lower cost, can actually cost you more money in terms of following up and all the work that goes into that if they don't bear fruit. So we feel that even though these are a more expensive lead, they are more motivated. There is a better chance of a return from them. So we're very excited to be able to offer that. And that 125 to 250 has actually come down a good deal since we launched the closed beta about 3 or 4 months ago, just due to all the testing we've been able to do and all the data we've been able to collect over the test.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really good point to make. So tell me, when you're saying that there's like a higher barrier to entry, by that you just mean they do have to answer those 16 questions, but we're seeing a good form completion rate. Is that right?
Yeah. So when I say a higher barrier to entry, I am talking about the form. Leads don't have to complete the form in order to become a lead. They can. Just as a traditional seller lead, they could enter their address, beds, bath, square footage, year built, and their contact information, and then be counted as a lead. But and I'm trying to find it on our sheet right here. But over the course of the beta test, we saw something like 85% plus of leads that started the form completed it, which I think also speaks to the motivation, because it's a lot of questions that they're completing, everything from paint color to updates, to their reason for requesting it, time frame. So we do see that most people do actually complete the form, and that was not something that we expected when we started this test. We were very pleasantly surprised by that, but I think it does go to the motivation of the leads when they're signing up.
And also a quick shout out to our product team, who did a great job on making the flow really user friendly. And it's a really beautiful landing page that they've created. So I think it definitely plays a role in making sure that we get as many people through those questions as possible. Mm-hmm. So our next kind of point here on what is, cash offer and how do we work with these leads is taking a consultative approach. So in terms of that, and we'll dive deeper into this as we go through the webinar, but it's all about learning what the lead's situation is. So not that different in terms of other leads that we work, and wanting to dive deep into what their motivation is. Is it to sell quickly? Is it to get as much money possible? Is it to not have to make repairs? So what is the reason that they're interested in this cash offer? And is it indeed the right path for them? Or would it be better for them to go ahead and list traditionally with you as the listing agent? And so that's what this sharing different opportunities kind of point is. It's going to the consultation that you'll have with them, prepared to give them all their options and to be a real advisor through that process. Now, as we dive deeper into each of these points throughout the rest of the webinar, please continue to ask questions in the chat. I see that Mike is putting in some answers, but we'll also cover them live too for everyone who's here with us live. So let's go ahead and talk about keys to success. And so I want to throw it over to Mike. I want to bring Mike into this. We haven't heard from Mike yet. So Mike, can you walk us through the keys to success with these cash offer leads?
Absolutely. So what we've been doing with our cash offer team, our subject matter experts that have been kind of leading this charge, Harry and then Eddie on our product team, they've had a group of beta clients on this lead type for a while now, and they've been doing roundtables monthly, kind of figuring out what are you finding successful with this lead type? How are you finding success working these cash offer leads? And so the very first thing that they all said and all identified was calling quickly. This is a very high intent lead source. They're looking for something to get connected very quickly. So calling in that first 5 minutes is hugely important, and probably more so than the rest of your standard kind of seller leads or your standard buyer leads that you would get. So the first thing is to call quickly. Kind of as soon as you get that lead source, you check those 16 questions, you pop them a call as soon as you get that lead alert. The next is following up. We have a couple ways to help automate that. We have an auto track that will address your cash offer leads. And this kind of runs in the background on those leads that you're maybe not able to get to immediately. You make that first call, they don't answer, that auto track automates your consistent follow-up on the back end. If you happen to be utilizing CINC AI, we also have a custom script for cash offer leads. So that way we're talking to them in a slightly different format And then from there, it's just about being persistent with your follow-up. Yes, they're going to fall into your daily P&F filters for continued follow-up, but because of how quickly this lead is looking to go, and we know that when they click on cash offer leads, they kind of get put into this funnel where they receive a lot of other cash offer ads. A lot of these people are filling out multiple cash offers. So again, getting them to them quickly, and if you can't connect to them on the first dial, following up with them persistently is what's going to drive that success. I also mentioned we had a custom script for our AI. That also means we kind of change that opening line to how we're talking to them. We're going to be a little more aggressive on a cash offer lead. We kind of go straight for that appointment. And that's where we have a kind of a new script and key to success for these cash offer leads. I'm going to throw that back to Kayla to talk about what that new opening line is.
Yeah, and before we move on to that, I just happened to see out of the corner of my eye a question from Rick, a follow-up on the AI. So asking AI can distinguish a cash offer lead from other leads, and that's a yes, absolutely. We see that that lead has a different source. So all of these leads do come in sourced as cash offer. So AI sees that source and engages them in a different script. So not the traditional buyer or seller script that CINC AI uses. This is special, created and tested for cash offer leads.
Yeah, and I would, if I can butt in, sorry.
Please,
I would.
I love that.
Okay, currently butting. So no, I would definitely recommend the AI. You know, I've spent the last 4 months or so kind of just poring over these leads, looking at each one individually. And what I tend to see is even the people that are difficult to get on the phone, or even some people that you never get on the phone, are conversing with the AI, which is something else I think that speaks to the motivation of these leads. But you know, we see most of the people that are getting messages from AI, as long as it's, you know, a correct phone number, are chatting back with AI and starting the conversation that way. So yeah, I think AI can definitely tell the difference, and that was something we implemented during the test based on data that we were seeing and feedback that the traditional seller scripting wasn't working as well. So AI can tell the difference, and the results from the cash offer AI have been good in terms of just starting that conversation and creating that dialogue with the lead.
Awesome. So that's the AI script. However, we also want to talk about the scripting for our phone calls. And if you've been through any CINC training, you know our great opening line for our typical buyer or seller leads. But again, these are different types of sellers, a little more motivated and a little more sense of urgency. And so we tweaked the opening line a little bit to go ahead and try to set an appointment right away. Now, I want to take a step back before we even really dive into the opening line and talk about why we want to go right away for an appointment. And that is that these leads, typically being more motivated and wanting to move a little bit quickly, we want to try to meet with them as fast as we can. But beyond that, we have to see the home in order to generate the best cash offer or best offer at all, period. So even though we can say, you know, for sometimes, well, a typical 4-bed, 2-bath in your area is listing around this range. In this case, we really need to get in and see the home. And if you're going to engage an iBuyer program to generate the cash offer for you, you have to provide photos for their finalized offer. So it's more important than ever when it comes to these cash offer leads that we press a little harder in the beginning to set the appointment. So let's go ahead and hear the opening line that we have learned by communicating, talking, learning, training with our CINC clients who have already been using the cash offer lead type. And this is what's been working for them. Again, remember that it's all about the tonality and the energy. It's not just what you say. So we're going to first read it line by line, and then we'll hear it in our right tonality and energy. So we're going to simply introduce ourselves. Hi, this is Kayla, or enter your name here. We received your request for a cash offer on your property. The next step is to visit and take current photos. So we're setting the expectation that this is the next step. And then would tomorrow or this weekend work better for you? Now, of course, if you are calling on a Friday, then maybe we tweak that question a little bit to make it make sense. So possibly would today or this weekend, or would this weekend or next week, you're going to make it work for the day that you're calling. So let's go ahead and hear it in our correct tonality. Hi, this is Kayla. We received your request for a cash offer on your property. The next step is to visit and take current photos. Would tomorrow or this weekend work better for you? And we're having our energy and our interest really high, and we're attempting to set that appointment. Now, we are going to talk through some objections in a moment, but I do want to make sure everyone here knows that in all the training and all the conversations that I've had so far with our successful CINC clients using this lead type, they are saying that most people go ahead and set the appointment. When you tell them the next step is this, and would tomorrow or this weekend work better for you, most people right then and there are going ahead and setting the appointment. So the objections that you'll receive are few and far between, and there's really only a couple that we're hearing that are true objections anyway. So I just want to let you know, of course, you need to role play this and practice it just as you would your normal script. However, we're seeing that a lot of people don't even give us an objection. They respect that this is the process and they go ahead and set that appointment with you. Again, they're a little more motivated than someone that we need to nurture like we typically would. So let's go ahead and talk through the objections. And I see lots of great questions coming in. We're absolutely going to get to those. Probably in the next couple slides, we'll have an open Q&A time for all these awesome questions. So objections. Mike, will you play my cash offer lead and let us role play this a little bit so you can give me the objection? And I'll go ahead and give you the opening line. You give me the objection and we'll be able to talk through how we can combat some of these objections. Does that work for you?
Absolutely. Let's go.
Awesome. So I'm going to start with my opening line. Hi, this is Kayla. We received your request for a cash offer on your property. The next step is to visit and take some photos. Excuse me, I just messed up our opening line. My question is tomorrow or the weekend better for you?
I mean, can you not just email me the offer?
Oh, yeah. See, we actually need to come out and see the property and take photos so we can give you the most accurate offer possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess so.
Awesome. Is tomorrow or the weekend better for you?
Let's do tomorrow.
Perfect. So basically, we're letting them know the next step in the process is this. If I email you an offer, it's not going to be accurate. So we actually do need to come out and see the property to get the most accurate offer. And then we're asking, does that make sense to you? Or is that fair? You can put in your own question there, but we're asking for their verbal agreement. Make sense? How does that sound? And then they're going to say, yeah, that makes sense. Or yeah, sounds good. And we are asking then, okay, what day works for you? So Mike, let's say I ask you, does tomorrow or this weekend work better for you? And you say,
well, before we really meet and like take the time for that appointment, I mean, how much will the offer be?
oh yeah, I'm curious to see what it'll be too. I actually do need to get in and see the property though, see your feature upgrades, see the condition. So we make sure that that accurate is, or make sure that the estimate is accurate as possible, or the offer is as accurate as possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we have done a couple of things to the bathrooms that's not listed anywhere, so.
Perfect. And then we're asking again when they are going to be available. So let's go with this last one. I asked you, does tomorrow or the weekend work best for you?
I'm just not ready to meet yet. I was really just kind of looking for something online.
Okay, interesting. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're not ready to meet?
I just was really curious about what the offer would be, and that was kind of going to prompt whether or not I kept going with my search or not.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Are you more interested in getting as much money as possible or selling as quickly as possible?
Selling as quickly as possible.
Okay, so we definitely need to get in soon and actually see the property, take some photos and get a really accurate cash offer for you so we can accomplish your goal of selling quickly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense if that's what you need to do to take that to the next step.
Awesome. It'll be a very quick and painless appointment. So let me ask you, does tomorrow or the weekend work better for you?
Let's shoot for the weekend.
Awesome. And then we're going to schedule from there. So if you have any questions on wanting to dive deeper into any of those, we absolutely can. But at its core, it's about asking why they're not quite ready to meet yet, or explaining why it won't work just to email the offer. And it all circles around to, I have to see the property to give you the most accurate offer. And we can even say, if they want to dive deeper, well, I put in my address on Zillow and it gave me, a Zestimate. We can explain to them, well, those are often inaccurate because they don't take into account the current condition and features of your home. Does that make sense? And we're going to tell them, for us to be as accurate as possible, we just have to get out and view it. Now, I've even heard from some people say, well, maybe they're an hour away and we're just not really finding a time that it works. Well, can you walk me through the home, via FaceTime or a phone call like that? That's absolutely fine, but it's all about explaining to them the value of meeting quickly and why you have to come out and take those photos. Now, I do see a question from John. Why are taking photos important? Why not just shoot for the appointment? And that actually plays into our next slide. So perfect question, John, about the first meeting, the consultation. So essentially, why is it important to take photos? So let's talk through generating a cash offer. Now, if you live in an area that has an iBuyer presence, in other words, Open Door is one that's big here in my area. So we'll just use Open Door. If you are in an Open Door market, you can essentially take the information about the lead's property, put it into Open Door, and they will give you their cash offer. And you will essentially be the broker of the deal between the lead and Open Door. But insert whatever iBuyer you currently have a relationship with into that Open Door slot. Or if you're in an area that does not have an iBuyer presence, or you prefer to work directly with investors, or whether you're an investor yourself. In fact, one of our clients in Alabama, they are not in an Open Door market, but they actually do investing on their own, and their agents have gotten in on the investment game. And so they go with a cash offer prepared for them to make the purchase to either flip or become a rental. So it doesn't have to be Open Door. It doesn't have to be an iBuyer program. It can be an investor, whether that's you or a group of investors that you already have a connection with. So we're not going and just making up a cash offer. We are going either with the iBuyer offer in hand or with an investor offer in hand. However, when we get there, we're not sitting down and saying, hi, here's your cash offer. We're doing a typical listing appointment where we talk about comps in the area and we talk about our listing method and what's different about listing with us versus listing with someone else. And it's laying out their options for them. So if you do decide to go down a route of listing traditionally, here's what it's like to list with me. Here's what it's like to work with me. Here's what I think I could get for your home, putting it on the MLS. However, if this doesn't work for you, here's this cash offer that I have that we can go ahead and take a look at and decide which one of these roads is right for you. There's even a third option of maybe they decide not to list right now, but I will go ahead and tell you again, in our experience and talking with agents that are using this program and have had a lot of success with it, they are listing these homes as opposed to having the lead go with the cash offer. Now, I'm not saying that's 100% stat, because there are some who are choosing to list with, to do the cash offer. There's one instance as well where when the agent showed up, there was an Open Door sign in the yard. Now, what they were able to do though is get that lead's buy side and became the buyer's agent for that person. So I say that to say it's not 100% that you will go and be able to personally list this home every time, but you're laying out your options for the lead and letting them decide what works best for them, being an advisor through that process. So the question from John was, why are taking photos important? So that 16 question form, and I've seen a question where, can we see the landing page? Can we see the form? Absolutely. I will pull that up and show you shortly. But those 16 questions actually correspond directly to the Open Door process for getting a cash offer. So you're able to take the answers to those questions, put them into Open Door if that's the iBuyer you choose, and you already have everything ready for you to fill out and get that preliminary cash offer. Now, if they are going to go forward with the cash offer with Open Door, you have to provide photos and videos of the space for them to give you their final offer. So you start with the preliminary offer. Once you show them photos and videos, then they give you that final cash offer.
My apologies.
Siri, I am not speaking with you. So that's why it's important to take photos and go ahead and set the expectation of that's what I'll be coming to do. So for anyone asking, where can I find the 16 questions? We will absolutely pull up a site in just a moment. In fact, Mike, could you go ahead and pull one up and chat it to me, please, just so we can take a look. Maybe even use our like Atlanta training site or something, or maybe Lance and Matt's site will have one as well. Thank you in advance. So in other words, the agenda is like our typical listing appointment. The addition is presenting that cash offer to them and advising them based on what you're finding out their motivation, what's going to be the right course of action for them. So Harry, is there anything in your experience in talking with people about their experience in working cash offer leads? Is there anything you think that we should add to this conversation before we flip gears and look at a site?
No, I mean, I think what you're saying, makes sense as you're talking about people that are signing up for a cash offer ad or a cash offer on their home, and a lot of times switching back, to a more traditional listing. That reminds me of, it was actually one of the first leads that came in the beta test. And we were all so excited, it was like Apollo 13, like mission control. We were in there. Eddie from our product team had his crisis vest on, we were all looking at it. We saw the first lead come in, but he was actually a lead in the Charleston area who had just retired. He wanted to go live in Europe and wanted to sell his home for as much money as he could, as fast as he could. And so, he came in, signed up for a cash offer. Our client got him on the phone right away. And just like what you're saying, presented the options to him of, hey, we can purchase your home for cash and you'll get, X amount. Or right now the market's really hot, we could list it and you could get more through there. And he actually chose to do the traditional listing, and his home has been sold for about a month now. So, he came in and closed within, I think it was 60 days, and, came in looking for the cash offer and was able to, after speaking with our clients, it was a better deal for both sides, where he got more money and could achieve his goal. And, our client was able to win the listing. So.
Awesome. We also have with us Eddie Rodriguez, who is our product rep, who really had a huge hand in creating this new lead type. So he asked to say a little piece here. So Eddie, welcome and thank you for joining us. What do you have to enlighten us with?
Oh, no, I just wanted to give everybody an update. As one of the brainchilds that put this all together, we have been making some improvements during the beta program. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of them because I don't know that everybody's aware. So we have changed one of the questions, and it is the one around square footage. So those of you that were in the beta heard me talk about removing that square footage question and actually putting the square footage on the second step when the lead confirms all of their property information. In doing that, we also added to the note in the CRM that you will now be able to see the property address there as well. So when you open up that note and you're reviewing the answers and questions, you'll have the property address in front of you.
Awesome.
And that's all I wanted to update everybody with. And
Perfect.
Thank you for allowing me to join. And if anybody has any product related questions, be happy to answer them.
Well, actually, I'll have you stay for just a moment. Let's go ahead and do our catch up on our questions. And I saw one that came in that I think you'll be best to answer. Let me just scroll up and find, I believe it was from John. So I'm looking for her name. So just talking about an update on a platform within CINC to better work sellers. Do you have an update that we could share with everyone?
Sorry, what was the question? I didn't hear you.
Sorry, about
He was updating his background to Braves.
Yes, he had to update. Go Braves. We did it. So an update for when a seller dashboard essentially would be available. So we have a smoother process to work our seller leads in CINC. Do you have an update you can share with everyone?
No, it's still in discovery phase. You know, being that the cash offer program is so new, and actually my team has kind of switched focuses. We're now looking to improve our current home value product, which we'll be updating soon. And this will kind of complete our whole seller suite compilation. And in doing that, I think if we were to roll something out, being that we're in the beginning of November, a seller dashboard might be something we take on in the new year to come.
Awesome. Thank you.
So no
I appreciate
details
that.
today.
Thank you.
And I think there was a question, does this work in Canada?
Yes, that's another
So-
one I wanted to pitch to you and Harry.
Yeah, so again, Harry and I started this program in July. And it's built agnostic. So the flow itself could capture a lead in Canada. If Harry was to turn on an ad tomorrow, there would be nothing that would stop a lead from registering on that page. The challenge is we don't have a lot of iBuyers in Canada. There's not a Zillow offers. There's not a OfferPad. There's not a Open Door. So for the folks in Canada, and I don't know any of the regulatory hurdles that we might run into when we're talking about offering a cash offer on a property. That all of that being said, if you are a Canadian client who is already purchasing homes today or already working with investors, this could be a successful program for you as well.
So would you recommend maybe if we have any Canadian sinkers listening today and they're interested to get in touch with their account manager and
Absolutely.
they'll keep them updated on when that might be open or we might need some tests?
Absolutely. We could
Awesome.
have the conversation. And
Perfect.
I mean, I'm actively looking into Canada, like trying to find out the regulatory regulations and stuff.
Wonderful. Awesome. Thank you. So going back to some other questions, and then we will get into looking at the landing page and the question form on the site. Tony asked one near the beginning, and this is big news that came out in the past couple of days, saying Zillow just got out of the iBuying operation. Isn't that an indication that it's not a good time to do that? And so I'll say that we don't want to put our own feelings into the news, right? We don't actually know why it is Zillow decided to end this part of their business. It could just be a shift in their business operations. We do know that they reported that they lost money doing this. And that could simply mean that their business practice in their iBuying operation didn't work the way they expected it to. What we do know and what we do have more control over are the results that our CINC clients are getting from our cash offer program. And so either Harry or Eddie, do you have like a success story from a client that you've heard that really sticks out to you that kind of shows you the strength of the leads?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, several different ones. The first lead that came in, that I mentioned, the guy in the Charleston area who came in for a cash offer and ended up being a quick traditional listing that's already gone through was a great story. We've seen, people come in with homes in probate or things that they've inherited that they don't want to list on the open market. They don't have the time or energy to deal with that have come to our clients. And I think too, that speaks to another question that I saw, I believe it was from Tony, saying that, most of the leads that are looking to sell for cash are in less desirable areas. And like looking through the leads, we've kind of seen, it's run the gamut, right? Like there have been some houses that have been just kind of in bad shape, derelict, like they just don't want to fix it up, or there's been some kind of medical problem or something like that, and they just need to get rid of the house quickly. But we've also seen, some nicer houses come through that was surprising to me. Listings of $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 they ended up being, where and most of the time with those, to Tony's point, those are people that are kind of shopping around. Maybe they've been thinking about listing their home, and they're curious what they can get on the cash side and if it would be easier. So they sign up for this. And then when they speak to our clients, our clients point out the benefits of, yes, you could do this for cash, but, with the way things are right now, it makes more sense to me to list this traditionally. So there have been a lot of stories like that. And Tony definitely makes a good point. We see that gamut of everything from, houses that people just need to get rid of, to someone who is really kind of, who has been thinking about listing their home, which maybe would have been like a more traditional kind of home eval lead that we provide in the past. They're getting to the point where they're ready to speak to someone, and they're filling out cash offer requests. And, they're coming through with what would make more sense to list traditionally, just for the benefit of the client. So,
and Harry, talk to me a little bit about, talking about areas that you want to work in versus you don't want to work in. When clients are signing up to receive cash offer leads, they're giving you areas that they want to target leads in. How does that work?
So when on the sign up form, we ask for at least 5 different cities. And I mean, it's the same with any ad campaign. Really, you should give us all the cities that you would be prepared to work in, because the larger the targeting radius is, that just puts more people in the ad audience, and that are potential, or that have potential to see these ads. And then the bigger the audience, the more chances our ads have to win auctions, and the lower the overall cost should be. So yeah, we're taking the areas that people would like to target, and we do see some out of area leads come through, like we do with other seller ad types. We target people that are living in an area, but sometimes the networks aren't always correct in their classifications of whether someone lives somewhere or not. Sometimes people just put in another address just for whatever reason. I'm not sure. But the targeting itself, we do everything we can to constrain it to the areas that you give us, and for the most part, those leads are within the target market, if not just right outside sometimes, from what we see.
So Kayla, it looks like we got some questions in the chat, if I could address a few of them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I have some picked out that I'd like to answer as well. So you go ahead and take the next one.
Okay, so Rick Vine, so let me clarify. You are not simply going to Open Door and inputting any lead information. So we do have a partnership with Open Door in certain markets. If you are in an Open Door market, you will have a link provided to you once we get you set up as part of the setup process, that you would go to that link and input the leads information. That link has both the CINC and Open Door branding, so you will know that you're in the right place.
Mm-hmm. And you can also, kind of to answer the question from James earlier about needing, them to sign paperwork to give us permission. You actually, on Open Door, there is an option for, I am an agent doing this on behalf of a client. So I can't speak necessarily to any paperwork. Eddie, maybe you know about that. Do we need to get a signature from this lead? I've not heard about that step in the process when I've been speaking with other clients currently doing this lead gen.
Yeah, so they're going to need to contact their account manager if they're in an Open Door market and want to get their Open Door account set up.
But I also don't want us to get too hung up on Open Door. You can generate the cash offer from any iBuyer, any investor. So if that process is not working for you, you're open to generate that cash offer from another source. Speaking of, again, I don't want to go on the record and saying specifically, but we did have a question from Alan about how much commission does an iBuyer like Open Door pay? I believe it's about 1%, but do you know any differently, Eddie?
Yeah, so it varies. When we talk about the commission, the 1% is guaranteed if the lead closes with Open Door and you have an agreement with the lead. Okay, now that is that 1% that comes from Open Door is separate from anything you may negotiate with the seller. So for example, you might talk in that conversation with the seller saying, hey, look, normally I charge 3% for any listing that I put up, but if you work with me, I'll take 1% off and I'll work this cash offer for you for 2%, taking 1% off my commission. And that way you get 2% from the seller, and then you're getting another 1% from Open Door, getting your full 3% at the end of the day. So it's really flexible on your side as you start to negotiate with the seller, but you are going to get the 1% if the lead closes with a cash offer with Open Door. Now, we're looking at other things, and every iBuyer is different. And so if we add more partnerships, the commission could change. But right now with the Open Door partnership, you will get the 1%.
Awesome. Thank you for clarifying that. I see a question from Sunny about, is this system like House Buyers Network? And I'm sorry for my ignorance, but I'm not familiar with that network. So is that familiar to you, Eddie?
Yeah,
That's a throwback.
Yeah, it's not something I'm familiar with either.
Because I know it was, I think it was something that the founder of CINC was involved in a few many moons ago, but before my time.
It was a cash buying program that was centered on reserved zip codes. The thought of it is similar. I believe it was more of the like the lesser value houses when the real estate market burst. I think that was really the big goal of that there. It's similar in intent. I think we're seeing more high value houses come through just based on the way that the market is. And the setup is a bit different in that you're not able to reserve zip codes here. The targeting is not done by zip codes. It's done at the city level. So yeah, I know of HBN because I've been around for about 6 or 7 years now, which is like 120 in CINC years. But there are some similarities, but it's a different program.
Awesome. So Heather had a question about where to find the tools in CINC for this. We're going to give you a site in a moment where you can go sign up for this, but we're also going to give you a look in the platform at the form and the landing page as well. So Christy, I did mention a little earlier a situation that I heard from one of the CINC clients using or generating cash offer leads. They did actually go to an appointment at a house and see an Open Door sign in the yard where it was already listed with Open Door. In that case, obviously they're going to say, if something falls through, you change your mind, absolutely, you can list with me. But they were able to get the buy side of that leads search. So they became the buyer's agent for that person. So I would say if you run into it where they already have an offer from Open Door, it's all about giving them their other options and seeing which one they want to go forward with. So Robert asking a question about how they have some high price listings between $1 to $5 million. Some are higher, and most offers they get are already cash. So have you tested this program with any success in multi-million-dollar markets?
Harry?
I'm just looking over some of the target markets now. I mean, we do have clients running in places like, Los Angeles. The biggest question to me there would be, is it a second home market? I don't know where the market is. Traditionally, second home markets are more difficult for these seller campaigns because the people that we want to target aren't necessarily there all the time. So I don't have, Robert said 50% second home markets. Yeah. So, I mean, just generally in second home markets, the seller campaigns are generally, I'm going to say generally as many times as I can in this sentence. Traditionally, in second home markets, seller campaigns are usually a bit tougher sledding just because it's hard to find those people. So yeah, I don't have any specific stats for a market with a price point like that. If you were to start it in a market like that, I would go into it with the understanding that the lead cost could be higher than average, and be prepared for that, and run the campaign for a month or two and then evaluate the results and see what you're getting. But unfortunately, I don't have anything that I wouldn't be making up that I could tell you data wise in a market like that.
We respect the honesty, Harry. Thank you. Now, I also see our friend Chemo, who's from San Diego, says he's a cash buyer in Tennessee if anyone needs an offer. So you've got an investor in Tennessee. Now reach out to Chemo Kwan.
And then James, you did hear correctly. There is a link. You got to reach out to your AM if you're in an open door market to get yourself set up with that open door link. But when you go to that link, you'll know you're in the right place because you'll see the open door and CINC logo together.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and switch gears, and I'm going to pull this to be my primary tab. I don't need you guys to see my to-do list, so sorry, bear with me. So I want to go ahead, and we've been teasing it long enough. I want to get us into a platform. This is a site that is currently using the lead generation program. So I want to make sure real quickly everyone can see sell your home on your time, on your terms. Awesome. So if you go ahead and notice the URL here, this is specifically for our trainer Lance Simpson's site, but this is the same format that you can find this on your own site. It's your URL. So yoururl.com/seller/cash offer. So you can go there right now and do a little test for yourself and see what this process looks like. But you'll notice really quickly how it is branded with the team's logo, with their name and with their contact information. And when I said that our product team earlier did a great job designing this, so it's attractive and the user experience is nice and easy, this is what I'm meaning. It's really apparent what they came here for. So I'm going to go ahead and walk us through this process because we've had quite a few questions and requests to see the questions. And so I'm going to go ahead and put in my home address, and I will use an old property that used to be in the family. So I know about this home. So I put in my address and I'm clicking to get my free offer. So it's going to, of course, look to see if it can match up with records that we have. And it went ahead and put in to verify some facts. And so this is what we were able to pull about this home. And it lets the lead know that it's from tax records and past MLS listings. So if the lead needed to, they could come in and they could make adjustments here if this was incorrect. But I know that this is true for this. So I'm going to move forward. Where do we send the cash offer? So if you remember earlier, Harry saying that they don't have to go past this. They don't have to answer these questions. Once they put their information in and click continue, they're going to be a lead in the system for you. So let's put in my full name. And let's do Kayla C. This is a test email. Bear with me. And
so while Kayla's filling that out, if I could just add a couple of things. So one thing we're seeing in particularly on this screen is higher contact rate because the information we are getting is better. Now, why is that? Because I can't issue a cash offer to Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck. And so these leads with a higher intent are giving us better contact information.
yes, good point to make, Eddie. Thank you. So we're saying your offer is almost ready, but remember at this point, you've already gotten your notification that you have a new lead in the system. Now, let's just say on an off chance, even though Harry shared with us earlier, we are getting a high completion rate on this form, someone leaves and says, I didn't know I had to do all this, I'm out. We can then take that lead's information and go to the tax records and pull the address anyway and start to do some follow-up in that way. So even if you don't get the answers to these questions, they're still a lead and you still have a shot with them. So we're asking if they, of course, are the homeowner. And remember, these questions, if you do decide to partner with Open Door, correspond to the questions from the Open Door program. How many floors does the home have? Does it have a basement? And notice how the photos change behind. So we're keeping the lead engaged through the whole process. So what type of covered parking spaces does it have? I know that this home has a carport. Is it part of a homeowners association? No. Is it in an age restricted or gated community? Does it have any of the following? So known foundation issues, previous chemical contamination, previous or current fire damage, flood history, well water, septic system, asbestos siding, or none of the above. This is another reason why we need to go out and see the home to see if this is accurate. Does it have solar panels? As we know that those can get tricky in the deal. What kind of countertops does your kitchen have? Are the common areas like living, dining, hallways, foyer all painted in a neutral color? What's the condition of the paint? Are you working with a home builder? Is it already listed with an agent? Desired sales time. Now keep in mind, this is not always accurate for typical leads. I have a feeling though, with these cash offer leads, they're probably going to be a little more forthcoming here. We're going to say I'm just browsing. And then how much do I think my home is worth today? I'm going to say, and then the reason for selling: upgrading, downsizing, unlocking home equity, job relocation, retirement, selling secondary home. They can specify something else or say none of these.
Yeah, and just looking through notes, we see a lot of relocation and retirement as the option being selected.
Awesome. So we'll submit. That is 16 of 16. And so now we're saying, thank you. We appreciate you telling us about your home. We will contact you within 48 hours with a cash offer for the address. So of course, as we spoke about earlier, we're calling quickly and we are telling them that we need to come by and take photos, see the home. So we're coming by to see the home to give an accurate value, or an accurate cash offer, I should say, excuse me. And we're setting the appointment quickly. So do you have any additional things you want to add here, Eddie, from the process of building these pages out?
No, the one thing I will say is, and this is a joke that I've kind of used when I do the demo. When we built this flow and I asked the developer, hey, I need you to build me a cash offer flow and I'm going to ask 16 questions. He looked at me and said, Eddie, are you crazy? Do you think one lead is going to answer 16 questions after they register? And I said, listen, it's a shot in the dark, probably not. But if I get 3% of the leads to fill it out, I'll consider it a bit of a win. And I'll do a cartwheel down the hallway at the office. Well, now I have to learn how to do somersaults because we're at about a 90% completion rate on all 16 questions.
Awesome.
That is unheard of, like unheard
I
of.
said 85 earlier today, so good, I
Oh,
wasn't
did you?
lying. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, you're right. I believe you. I was
Yeah.
trying to remember.
Yeah, it's about 90%. So
Yeah.
for a lead to give up that much information after they've already registered, I mean, the intent is there.
Awesome. So we did see a question from Matthew come in. Does this cash offer landing page, does it have a link on the front of the homepage, or is it just accessible via the URL?
Yeah, it is only accessible by the URL, and that is by purpose. We wanted to test this program out and not being able to give any ways to escape. When we start adding links and putting it in the navigation, it starts to get more complicated, and the chance of that lead bailing out increases. So we wanted to keep it behind a wall. Now, in the future, could it be part of the nav? Absolutely. And we will look to explore and adding it to the navigation and building out more functionality for this this seller page. But as of today, it is not part of the navigation.
Awesome. Thank you. So James said, in contacting them within 48 hours, we really need to get in there same day for photos. Have you found resistance in your beta for calling with them right away? When it says we'll contact them within 48 hours, no. We have not seen any resistance. When we were talking about scripting earlier, I even think I mentioned that we are not even really seeing many objections to asking to set the appointment. So I think as long as you're calling and you sound interested and use the right tonality and just saying, hey, I need to get in to see the property. When are you available? You know, does tomorrow or this weekend work better? You're not really going to get many objections to that. I think setting the expectation that we'll contact you within 48 hours, they know that they're going to get a quick contact, and it's all about jumping on these leads as fast as possible, because as Mike mentioned earlier, you know, once they click or interact with one cash offer advertisement, now they're going to start seeing more cash offer advertisements from other sources because of the way our browsers watch our every move. You know, so it's super important to make sure that you call them quickly and get in there to meet them as fast as possible. And I really just have not heard any resistance from people from getting that call quickly.
There's a question there, Kayla, about lead routing. So I think it's Laura. When the lead comes in, it will go through seller lead routing. This is a seller lead. It will not go through your buyer lead routing.
Perfect. So in that listing agent section then, because they come in as a seller.
Yeah. One thing I will say just as a note when we talk about lead routing, because we have seen this in the beta program, some brokerages want specific agents to work their seller leads. If you want to have that set up or you have a special need or want it to get to a certain person, I highly suggest you connect with your account manager, as they can assist you in helping you customize your seller lead routing so that the leads are going to the appropriate person.
Awesome. So I have a question from Annette, and Annette, I'm going to ask you to send in a little bit more information for me on this one. So the original question is, can this cash offer lead source have a special notification so it can be emailed to a specific email? So Annette, is the intent there that you would want the listing agent that receives the lead and another email to be notified, or what's the request there, so we understand what you're trying to accomplish? And while you're giving me a little bit more information, I do just want to reiterate that if you do want to join the Open Door and CINC platform, you just need to get in touch with your account manager, and we'll just need your name, the market you're in, and your email, and we will get that Open Door account set up for you. But I do just also want to say that if you're not an Open Door market, or you have a relationship with another iBuyer or no iBuyers at all, you can use any iBuyer program to generate the cash offer, or you can use investors that you work with, or yourself as the investor. Awesome. Annette figured out her own answer. Love when that happens. If you need any quick information about cash offer, you can also feel free to get in touch with support. So that's just support@cincpro.com, or giving us a phone call at 855-246-2717. And they can either get in touch with the account manager or give you information right there on the spot. I see a new question that came in from Brandon. How do you tell the difference between a cash seller and a regular seller? Yes, there's an easy way to see the source is cash offer. So the source, instead of being Google or Facebook or what have you, it will be cash offer. It also gets a label added automatically. So it's got a cash offer label. So that way we can either sort by source or filter by that label to see all of our cash offer leads.
And the labels also, sorry. No, the label is also really handy too, because especially in clients that have existing databases, we do see this re-engages old leads from time to time. So, I mean, we've seen leads that were 1,500, 1,600 days old that had fallen off in the client's CRM, come back and fill this form in, and the client's able to reestablish contact with them. So maybe they lost that listing 4 years ago and now they're ready to sell that home, and they're able to come back in. The labels are a good way to identify those leads. And I'm not a CRM expert, but that's how I do it. So
Yep.
I don't
No,
know.
that's
There
a
may be
really
a better
good
way
point,
to do
Harry.
it.
No,
Just to
that's a
tack
really
on-
good point.
Just to tack on about what Harry's saying, there's actually 2 labels, and it's really smart of you all to use the labels because of the fact that we're going to get re-engagement. And that story that Harry was talking about, we had one platform that had 11 leads that were over 400 days old, the oldest one being 3,500 days old, that re-engaged and re-signed up through the cash offer flow. And you wouldn't have seen those leads if you hadn't used the labels. And so for my team, now the next thing we also try to think about is how do we re-engage your current database and get them into this program?
Awesome. So Rick asked a question: if we advertise on our own or get a seller some other way, can we still put them through the iBuyer portal? I would see no reason why you couldn't.
Yeah, you could. I would say make sure that they're in your database though, so that you can track all the actions that happen with that lead.
Awesome. And then Amy asked a good question, but it's got kind of an answer I don't like to give. And her question was, can you tell us what the iBuyer source there is in Florida? And because it varies so much market to market, it's really hard for us to know what's available in every state, and because it gets at a much smaller market level. So you just need to do some research to see what's available to you. You could do some Googling, ask people in your office, look around to see what signs are in your area. There's, I think, a few different ways you could go about researching it, but I just couldn't tell you off the top of my head what's going to market or work in your market in Florida. So Amy did a very kind thing, and she gave us a great way to wrap this up. And she asked the question about what's the price, or is this like Google ad spend where the budget is dependent upon the site owner? So if you want more information about Cash Offer, here's a link I'm going to send you to. There's a form for you to fill out if you want to get started, and it actually has all of the details in there. So there is a minimum lead spend amount for Cash Offer, and it is $1,000 a month. And that is simply because we do have a higher, again, like Harry was mentioning earlier, a higher price point to these leads because they are a little bit more warm. They're going to be ready to go a little faster. So there is a higher price point that comes along with that. If you want to see more information and more about that minimum on the lead spend, it's go.cincpro.com/cinc-cash-offer. This is a mouthful. I don't know who made that the URL. So Mike just put it into the chat as well. Rick put in a good question, and Harry, you might know a little bit about this. If they were billed this month, when should they start to see leads? What's the ramp up period for these look like?
It'll vary. So at the very beginning of the campaign, we've got a couple of different ad formats that are running. When the campaign first starts, the networks are spending pretty evenly against the different ad variants, ad creatives, to see which one's going to work well. And once the networks are able to figure that out and say, hey, more people are responding to these ads than these ads, that's when the lead flow should pick up. I wouldn't be surprised for it to be, several days at least when you first start the campaign. And of course, it also depends on the overall spend amount. And I would make sure, that you had been, sorry, Eddie's backgrounds are tripping me up. I would make sure, he's a big Phillies fan. I would make sure too, that you had been build for the initial email that went out. That was a sign up on the wait list. So we had maybe 25 to 30 clients that we've been testing with in a closed beta for about 3 months. Open that up to 50 additional clients for this month. And we'll continue to open that up in batches as we're able to. So not everybody that signed up on that list at the end of last month has been billed. So make sure, you know, that you have been billed if you're expecting to see leads as well. And if you did sign up on the wait list and we weren't able to include you in the initial 50, we're planning to open some open new spots as we move forward this month. And then, you know, we'll continue to do that as we move throughout the year.
Awesome. I feel like we've got people putting in where they are looking to make some cash offers. I feel like I'm going to have to start a thread on our owners Facebook group to say, if you want to be a cash investor, let us put your name here on the thread, because Heather's offering in Austin, Southeast Florida, Colorado Springs, and we've got Chris who's offering in Orange County, LA County, San Bernardino. So dang, we've got some people that are looking to be investors in a lot of different areas. So I'm gonna have to
Okay,
start
I
a
was going to
thread.
mention something. We need to, if we can get these people's information, because I have been playing around with the idea of an investor network for CINC. So having these people raise their hand is awesome.
All right. If you are not in the owners Facebook group, join and I'll get you in this week. It's just go to Facebook and type in CINC Owners Mastermind and request to join the group. And I'm going to start a thread with where we need some where people want to be cash investors. And I'll make sure that Eddie gets that. I love that. I love that everyone is so ready to invest in some homes. Awesome. I do want to make sure that we let you know about another webinar that is happening November 17th. You will get to hear from both Eddie and Harry again, and they will be diving deeper into the lead generation process. So where this talked more overview, scripting, how to work the leads, they're going to be diving deep on the lead generation portion of that. So if you do want to get more information, join them on November 17th. Mike dropped a link to register for that webinar in the chat. So Brandon, who do we get in contact with to get Open Door? I'm not sure if it's available in Washington. Get in touch with your account manager. Your account manager will let you know if you're in a market that can work with Open Door. But again, I just want to make sure that no one feels left out. If you are not in an Open Door market, you can use another iBuyer connection or any other cash investor that you have access to. Awesome. Well, we spent a lot of time together today. We got the most amazing questions. I love it when we have a lot to answer and it keeps us on our toes. It makes it way more fun for me. I want to thank Mike, Siri. No, not you. I want to thank Mike, first of all, for answering those questions in the chat and helping with the presentation here, but also a big thank you to Harry and Eddie for jumping on and filling in the gaps, since they were a big part in getting this lead gen effort off the ground and running, and we're a big hand in making it so successful. So if you do have questions after this, please feel free to reach out to support or your account manager. You can also visit cincommunity.com/webinars to sign up for our additional training webinars for Cash Offer, or of course, any of our other sessions, our other topics. And then this recording will be up at cincommunity.com/recordings. So again, cincommunity.com/recordings. Don't forget to go to cincpro.com/cinc-cash-offer if you want more information or to get signed up. And definitely make sure to join us on November 17th for our lead gen cash offer webinar. That was a lot to cover, but I think that's it.
Nailed it.
Everyone feels good?
Yep, we're good to
Great
go.
job, Kayla. Great job, Mike. Great job, Harry. Thank you, everyone, for attending. It was nice to not see everybody, but y'all can see me. So
Please reach out and let us know if there's anything we can help, whether it's cash offer or anything else CINC related. We are here to help. And if you want to hear some success stories too, go to that CINC owners group and I'll be asking for some of those too. So thank you to everyone again. Appreciate you spending over an hour with us. Get back to work. I know I kept you for a long time. Make sure to check out the recording, join us for more stuff, and we'll see you next time.
bye-bye.
Bye.